All right, I think we are live. Let me just wait to get the link and then update the minutes. Yeah, oh good. So welcome everybody to the node.js Security Working Group meeting, the first one of June. I hope to be a good month for us. So before I start, does anybody have any announcements? I don't think so. So let's go. I think you all have added your name to the minutes. We have 6. Yes, that's correct. So let's go to the announcements. We have the vulnerability review and the open SSF scorecard review. The vulnerability review basically was opened a bunch of open SSL public CVEs and CAs. Both are will be addressed in the next security release of Node.js. So they affect Node.js, and that's it. Okay, so
I think also in there there's a whole bunch of OpenSSL vulnerabilities, which
yes,
the recent
previous
OpenSSL release should be addressing. So we know that those will be addressed in the not too distant future.
Yeah. Do we have a way to we have the waiting OpenSSL release? We need to have unlabeled to say that, like to say that it affects Node.js, right? Or just the missing label means that.
Yeah, I think like the missing label is we haven't said one way or the other. I guess we could have one which is like, yeah, we confirm this affects. If we've gone through the thing and said this does affect thing, no, that would actually be a good label to add.
Okay, let me include that label right now. Confirmed.
Right, like that's that's a good
fact. Node.js. Okay. So let me go to all the issues and select and mark as confirmed. Node.js 20, Node.js 16, 18, and main.
And I guess like the waiting, we put the waiting on OpenSSL release on ones where they basically said, hey.
Yeah, they are confirmed as well, right?
It's confirmed. There is an issue, but we're not doing a release yet. If we check that the current releases include fixes for those, we might take off that, and then it's that confirmed. I don't know if we've looked at whether they affect it or not, but like,
yeah, I just added all the labels.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's correct. So these, I don't need to select this one.
So we probably should remove the waiting on OpenSSL release, because I think they're all those lower.
Yeah.
Should be in the next release. So it's no longer waiting. It's just now waiting on us to do a release.
Adjusting it, but looks good so far. All right, then. Moving forward, OpenSSL scorecard monitor review.
Yeah, let me share my screen and I can go fast with it. So yeah, I think you can see the pull request, right? The pull request is 1018. Basically, I did a manual pull request, not because the automation is broken, just because I made a mistake when I make the last release. So we bumped to the beta 6 version of it. There is something new, very cool. Teva has finished with the comparator, and we made some restructuration also on the columns names. So basically, we just, in order to make a little bit thinner columns. So basically, now in the score delta, the new thing is you have these details, and the details basically, when you access to those links, you appear here. So it's the same view as before in terms of the content, but you compare topic by topic with the previous scoring. So you have like the commit hash from and the one that you compare to. So you can compare anytime in the timeline as soon as there is a scorecard report available, right? That can happen that if you check for a specific commit that was not reported, obviously no, but you can see the evolution on the time. So yeah, in that sense, well, internal lines, the big difference only is 0.1 points for the security working group, but there are a lot of changes in between the scoring. So now it's easier to see. So for example, here, the one for the node, it has been some increasing, which is interesting. We have some increasing on the CI test, although we have less merge pull requests checked than before. So it's a little bit tricky. I was thinking that it was a mistake on how we make the comparator, but no, it's part of the API. So I will check with Lauren just to be sure that we are getting the good results. The same goes for the code review. We still have some unreviewed human changes. Before was
Quick
5,
question.
now it's 6.
Sorry, like, shouldn't, if you scroll up again?
Yep.
I'm confused by the increase by 1.7.
That's the thing. I think it should be like a decrease, but the API results mark as an increase. So maybe they have changed the way that is working the internal scoring for the CI test. And now 21 is higher than how it was before, but it's tricky.
It's just, yeah, like it seems really funny. Like our previous one was like 25 out of 25. You should have gotten 10.
Exactly. Now it should be less. Yeah.
Yeah, we should be less, but now we're 9.
Yeah. So
but like increase 1.7 makes no sense in that. So okay.
Yeah, that's tricky. Yeah. Also, I got a weird result. If we have a look here on the SAST one, also we got some decrease, although we are less commit. Check. I mean, there is 22 not checked, before was 25, and I think somehow in the past we detected the SAST tool in the previous scoring, but not now. So I think they're making some internal changes that you know, are making it
and it says that the previous revision was score 0, and then today score 0 as well. So
okay. So those are cool, but they don't seem to give real information, right?
Yeah,
right now. It's a great idea.
So we need to check it out. Yeah, there was some a little bit funky on some of the sections, but yeah, the comparison is quite smooth now.
Okay.
The same goes for the security working group. We decrease it a little bit, but yeah, somehow we seems like increase it. I don't know. I will check it out, that one as well, to see maybe it's on how we compare. But yeah, aside of that, in terms of contributions, we are more active than before. That's a good scoring as well. And yeah, in terms of maintenance also, we have more commits than before. In terms of SAST, we are more commits tested than before. I think, no, one less. Yeah, definitely I will check it out, the scoring properly, but the overall results.
That like, what? Yeah, even like, why does the number of commits matter if they're all checked? If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there is. Yeah, because when you introduce the tool, I think there are some scores that expect you to have like 30. For example, you introduce the branch protection rules today, so it's expected like the next 30 commits or something on that direction are passing that branch protection in order to make you like the full 10 points instead of, because it goes from 0 to 10. So I assume that when you enable and you have the first commit, you get the first point until you arrive to 30. So it's 3 commits or whatever are scoring you like 0, 1 more.
I think they must have it backwards or something, because that must have been like a decrease.
Yep.
Like something wasn't checked. It would be interesting to know, like, what is that one commit? Why would it have not been like, I suspect it's got to be something like, maybe we don't check everything with code QL, right? Because it's not code or something. Yep. That would be an interesting thing to figure out. Because I could see if we just reversed that's a decrease 0.8.
Yep.
Then it's an interesting, like, well, why do we have things that aren't checked?
Yeah, I think maybe for the code QL one, we have maybe some filtering on when the action should trigger. So maybe we are not making changes on the
right. Like if we're changing documents or something, maybe we don't run it, which makes total sense. So that should be something that again we configure can somehow say don't ding us for
Yeah, like if there
situation.
is a meeting minutes, there is nothing to check or stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, I will check it
Exactly.
out to see those discrepancies. I will check it out this with Deva and Lauren as well to see that we are getting the right results. But as far as I know, we are consuming the API correct, so it should be somehow in between. And yeah,
Definitely
that's the
a
last
cool
one.
report to have that. Like that's
Yeah,
Even if it's
I
not,
like the format.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if it's become more useful. Also, we have this new collapsible thing. So for sections that are a little bit tricky, for example, when you go to the, I think it's pinnet dependencies, you have a big list. So if you need to compare, it's easier than before that you can just collapsible. But yeah, as I said before, in general lines, in big numbers, we only decrease a little bit on the security working group one. And yeah, and also this walk through a little bit on the details that is easier to analyze. Yeah, as I said before, any feedback on the comparator is super welcome. If you see that something missing, something that you like the most and so on, just provide some feedback or in Slack or here on the pull request or whatever, and we can see how we integrate more changes.
And I do want to add in Node.js/Node add-on API. I just haven't had time to get back to actually enabling it there yet. I used the tool to create a PR, but we're failing on something that I've got to figure out before I can do that. But just as a heads up.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Move forward. The first item in your agenda, I have moved to be the assessment against best practice, just to keep on track. I know that there are some discussions around the CII, or yes, C2 or CII, right? I think it's CII. I didn't read. And I remember, okay, we are applying to the 3 levels, the basic, silver, and gold. And I assume the entry level it's concluded, right?
I think so. Yeah, I had a review today, had a look at the missing point, and they are all met. So I think this is good to go. One note is that we have to be quick. If we get the entry level, we have to basically add the badge to the website in 48 hours because it's required for the silver level. It sounds funny, but it's one of the criteria for the silver level. So yeah.
So basically you apply for it, but then if you don't put it on, you have to reapply. Is that the?
I don't know. It's like on the silver level, there is this criteria that says that, wait, let me get it. So it's silver 1. Let's see. This might require a bit of coordination. Yeah, it says the project repository front page, our website must identify and hyperlink to any achievements, including best practice badge within 48 hours of publication of public recognition that the achievement has been attained. Let me.
So we need to do it. We need to add a they have a frame or a script or something to include in the website, so we can create a pull request now.
Yeah, they have these typical patches, like that you see in the README, of many repositories very often with the, I don't know, npm package version, number of downloads, license, and things like that. So they have a really cool one that we might use. Yeah, but we don't have anything, I think, on the README right now in terms of patches, right? So we maybe want to put that on the website.
Oh,
or we want to put it on the README.
I think we can put it on README.
Okay.
It's way easier, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
We need to display the badge somehow.
Right.
We can either display it on the Node.js README or in the Node.js website. I think the Node.js website will take some time, and we need to discuss design decisions. And I think the reasonable approach is to apply it on the README, right? It's just a
Yeah, it
beta.
says front page.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, readme will work. Yeah.
Okay, so do we have something else to do?
I think we can ship the entry level one. I don't know the process for asking like the review from the CI's best practices, but I think it's good to go.
I can double request right now because we have already submitted for the entry level few years ago. So we have the batch, but we are not showing up. So I can double request to show the batch, and when we increase the level, it should reflect automatically, so we don't have to do any additional pull request, I think.
Okay, I see that there are some open conversations in that pull request. Maybe Matt, all the crypto operations, but since it was already applied, I don't think we should change anything in that file, right? Because it should reflect the one that we applied. Correct?
Yep.
Okay, so we will approve again, and then you can merge. And I will remove it from the, oh, it's not in the secret working group agenda. If you guys can approve again, that would be great.
The
Just
only
to-
one that I'm looking at is 988. Like, so there's a discussion about the key links.
Let me see. $988.
I guess like the issue 988 was open to discuss one of the requirements. If I'm on the same, the right,
Yeah, I can explain that. Yeah, there are some issues with the label CII best practices. So those that start with like requirement something, those are stuff that we discuss it on the entry level pull request and or in the silver level pull request, and we bring those discussions separately because meet or meet the criteria, it was worth to checking outside like a spin-off, separate discussions. So, but yeah,
right,
those
because that's what we're talking about putting the badge on for, right? Or if I you're right. So that
for the best practices.
Yeah. So I was just looking through and seeing, it seems to me like all the other ones, the discussion is like, yeah, we meet them, right? I think that one in particular, it's like, yeah, we believe we meet them, but we're maybe not 100% sure on that. Like there's still, if I read through the discussion, there's still some like, this is the only one that maybe. So my question is like, do we need to somehow close that first?
Yeah, let me see. So for that discussion, I can share my screen and let's see. Desktop one, yeah. So yeah, I think this is the discussion coming from the key length, right?
Yes, this one.
Key length, yeah. So the idea is, let's see, the security mechanism within the software policy. Recurrent that at least meet needs minimum requirement through 2030. Okay. Okay, and that discussion started here. No, but I think this is not the right discussion, right?
Yeah, I think this is the right discussion. I mean,
we did.
No, it's not this. Sorry.
No, it's not that one.
Right, it's this one right
it's,
here.
It's this one
like,
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to understand in which context, because if we talk about crypto, I mean, you can use the key that you want. We provide the mechanism and we cannot force the user to, you cannot enforce it. But if we talk about TLS, and I think this is what it's like, this this condition applies to, I think it's met.
Yeah.
And that's where like I wonder if we should get some feedback from the people, the best practices team or something, to say like, okay, this is this is our discussion. do you think we meet it or not? Right? Because like, it seems like there's some potential uncertainty here.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Do you want me to check out with the OpenSSF and see if I can bring them to the discussion?
Yeah, if you could, basically ask them to look at this issue and try and help us understand if what we're doing meets it or not. And if the answer is no, it would be like help us understand what we would have to do to meet it, right?
Yeah.
It's not clear for me why it wouldn't be meet, because by looking what Tobias answer, he said that for TLS this is absolutely possible.
But he goes on to say, but for our other crypto algorithms, it's not primitives, it's not as simple, right? Like we don't use these, but we provide APIs that let people use them. And there's no option like FIPS will let you turn off some things, but not guaranteed for the primitive API, like the things in the, if you're not using TLS, sorry, enabling FIPS doesn't affect all of our APIs. We still use some deprecated methods, and FIPS says it won't affect those deprecated methods. So he's got some examples like, so for those small DH, there is no switch to say turn those off and have node return an error instead.
Well, but through node.js, you can always use a custom OpenSSL configuration. So you can basically configure the software so in order to make it disabled.
They can
Yeah,
use
I guess.
custom.
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
No, go on.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. So that would be an argument to say.
Because the questions, the statement is like, it must be possible. It's possible, even though it's complex, but it's possible.
So it basically would be, well, let's scroll down. Like, how is it possible? That's my one question.
When you can use custom OpenSSL configuration, and when you define a open.cnf, you can define that those key lengths or any other configuration are disabled through OpenCNF configuration, not directly on Node.js, but with Node.js you can load custom configurations and then you configure the software.
Okay. So I think maybe just adding in the, like, we're saying maybe just adding something that says we believe we meet this because OpenSSL itself can be configured to disable key, algorithms, key lengths.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good point in that, like, if you built Node as a shared library, so if you build Node to use, if you build Node to use OpenSSL as a shared library, which is what Red Hat Linux does, then I believe, like in our versions, we do disable algorithms that you shouldn't be using. So they're not, in theory, they're not there at all. So that it is possible through that. That's not necessarily easy. You'd have to build, have your own build a node and your own libraries. But anyway, I think when I read it, it wasn't necessarily, I didn't necessarily understand. It's like, okay, so basically if we could add a comment that says we meet this because you can do the required configuration in OpenSSL. And then I'm okay.
Yep.
I wonder how they will assess if we met or not, if we meet or not these points. Like how the process of checking everything is done.
They don't.
It's a self-assessment approach.
Okay.
So basically, you say if you meet it or not, and you can justify the answer. So that's a good point also from Michael, that we can say like, yeah, we meet that, and we believe it because of this, and that. So yeah, in many things they ask you also, for example, to provide additional information, URLs and so on. So it's easier. So more or less it's like a statement of what we believe we do and some proof. So the third party who reads this will kind of, is this requirement? Okay, let's see. Or this is very vague, or I don't trust, I want to check more. So they can open an issue also to ask us more information. So Yes, it's a self-assessment is a little bit tricky. Also, I think as soon as people start to use it more, we might get more feedback, people asking us very specific questions about it.
Right.
So
And
that way we
this
can
doc
improve.
will be some good history in terms of like,
Yeah.
okay, why
Yeah.
did we say yes or no? And so like just making it absolutely clear. Yeah, there was some discussion, it was questionable. And then, but
Yep.
yeah, we're saying we believe we meet this because we
I
believe you
just
can
made
configure
a-
this through OpenSSL, blah,
Yep.
right?
Just made a suggestion so you can approve if you want. Just
Okay.
basically
Fantastic.
copying and pasting the Tobias answer.
Fantastic.
Okay, because yeah, just if you read this thing, you'd say, it doesn't look like the discussion closed, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereas for all the
Yep.
other ones, it did sound so.
Yep. Yeah, that's okay. So we jump to the other requirements and check it out entry level, or we should
Yep.
keep the okay.
No, I mean for the entry level, that's the only one, right?
There are more things on the entry level that are quite tricky. Let me see. There are some open discussions. I think okay, that one was one of them. I think there is also one here regarding to is suggested as a memory and safe language, but combination mechanism.
I guess the one about dynamic analysis tool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
does
well-
say suggested.
Is suggested, yeah. So yeah, it's not a requirement. So in that sense, you might get the entry level, even if you say not meet, but maybe you don't get it on silver level because it become from a suggestion to a requirement, So that's why they have like a 3 tiers of.
Yeah, I remember researching into this one, probably for the silver or gold one. So I will probably post under this a comment about it. Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, I was checking also in the Valgrind website, and they say like they do dynamic analysis. So I think that kind of covers the definition. But
Yeah, I think it covers Valgrind. I mean, Valgrind is quite tricky. I remember it was working pretty well on previous versions of Node.js, but I did a test with Node.js 18 for a performance analysis in one project I don't remember, and it was not working very well. It might be my mistake, but it was not providing reliable results. But anyway, yesterday I did a test, just looking to the symbols and applying eBPF to a Node.js application, and considering we dropped the support to the trace and ETW, I don't know if we met that requirement.
I think I'd look at it two ways. One, I believe we still don't. I think at one point we had like a Valgrind test in our test suite.
Do we? Let me check.
For some reason, I thought it was run as part of our automatic test.
We have a tools run Valgrind. Yeah, we do.
And if that runs regularly, then I think we can at least say we're running, checks for memory unsafe. And I think it's suggested, right? Like, because this is suggested, I'd be, unless, I don't know if somebody else knows more, like the suggested mean you need to, but it doesn't sound to me, right? Like, it sounds like, it'd be a good thing. We're doing something that's probably good enough for this level, right?
Yeah, also we have this fuzzer tool that I don't remember the name now, running on Node, if I remember well, because we raised the scoring for that like 2 meetings ago. So
Coverity, maybe.
No, it was I don't remember by head. It's the tool made by Google for fuzzing testing on. Was fuzzing? Well, I will check it out.
Do we have fuzzers? I'm not so sure about fuzzers, but we. I agree. Like, so this is, I'm curious, Council says one dynamic tool in combination with the memory sake problems. So it does qualify as the latter, right? As a dynamic tool. Yeah. I think Valgrind, it's interesting what dynamic means versus static.
Yep.
Like Valgrind is when you're running, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dynamic, I think.
Yeah.
Like static, it's just on the code base to see if it.
Yeah.
Right. So
basically
that's like
Like a linter.
effectively, that's
Yeah.
like our Coverity runs.
Exactly. That's the static one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then we
that's
can-
correct. Valgrind qualifies for that. If
Yep.
Valgrind is working. So yeah.
Yeah, working on getting that. Like they're building some new API. They said next week they'll give us. So we're working on getting that working again. I think we've had it working for a long time. So I'm pretty comfortable that we can say that Coverity, we're running Coverity and
Okay.
stuff.
So we
Unless we give
resolve
up
that
on that.
conversation.
We will resolve that one.
Okay.
This one I
okay.
would like resolve this as, it says suggested. So we
Yeah.
don't have to do anything, but we do like, it would be good to confirm, do we use Valgrind? Like, I thought we had a Valgrind test that ran as part of the regular tests.
We have a Valgrind file. We have also tools run valgrind.py. So it suggests we do use it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Also on this topic, I would suggest to open an issue and add documentation about Valgrind and what we do about dynamic analysis, because I think it's undocumented.
Yep.
This goes
I
to
would
the
agree that
diagnostic
like,
one.
yeah, I'm almost thinking that like we should have under the contributing, we should have a document which is like meeting the requirements for this badge, and say, to continue to meet the requirements for this badge, we have to continue to do Coverity. Here's links for that.
Yeah.
We need to continue to have a test for Valgrind in our blah, right? And we need to, otherwise it's a bit too easy to forget why we do some of these things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, maybe we can do like a regular checkout on this to see that we are still, like twice a year or something.
Yeah, that document could document what it is we do, and then we can do a sanity test once a quarter that says, do we still do that? That would be a great thing to have on our agenda. Like, are these still up and running? Yes, good. Okay. Otherwise, wait a sec. Yeah.
Yep. That's a very good point. I think aside of that one, that was okay. That was the suggestion for Rafael. Okay, and I think that's it for this one. Yeah, there is nothing open up here. That's okay. Yeah, I need to discuss with Rod to get access, so I can just propagate the changes on the official website, and so we can officially remove this one from the agenda, and I will just put in notifications when it's ready. Yeah. I think also we have some related requirements that we bring out from this discussion, but not very sure if you want to go deep on that one or just remove them from the agenda and do it offline.
Well, I think this one, if we accept that other comment, we should just comment there. We discussed it.
Yeah.
The belief is you can do this through OpenSSL, therefore closed, right? And similarly for the secure development knowledge, I think there was a discussion that says, so like, it'd be good to close out each one of these with the answer, right?
Yeah. The discussion for this was at least one developer should know this design secure software how-to requirements, and I think many of us we do, but there is like a primary contact who is like, or primary contacts in plural, saying like those are the people who knows that in the organization. So just in case they step down
who would we
from the
say
organization,
it is, right?
Yeah, so just put a list of names of who feel strong enough, to have that knowledge. So that way we can build a list, and hopefully that as part of the collaborators and thesis members and so on. And just to be sure that we have people from that list actively.
Right, and that would be a perfect thing. Like if we had a doc under the collaborator collaborating, we have like the node doc, and I forget what it's called, but like
contributing,
right? And underneath there, if we have like maintaining our badge, it could list this as a requirement, say like, here's the pointer to the list of people, or maybe where we put the list of people or something like that. But but I think it would be good to close this one out. It would be good, like, okay, here's our list of people for now. And then we can plan to maintain it somewhere or something like that.
So can we close the requirement issues?
I think it would be good to add the answer to each of them there, right? Like
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
we
I'm
can
doing
close them
that.
with an answer. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's okay. Because the rest, I think the same. Yeah, static source code analysis daily. I think it was a matter of it was working or not daily, but it's there. So
Yeah, do
that's
we?
also.
Does it say daily versus? I'm trying to think whether we do it daily or weekly.
Let me see. On every commit or at least daily.
Right. Okay. Well, we don't do it daily, but I think here actually GitHub Node.js build issues. Severity.
The Kubernetes run once a day, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm just double checking. Like it's okay, it's run once a day, so that's good.
That's good. Okay, that's me.
Once we get it,
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a temporary problem, but temporary problems come and go.
Yeah, that's it. Run scanning tool. Yeah. The concept. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
can we close?
Yeah, we can close that one. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think last one is like public known medium high vulnerabilities on patch for 60 days. I think we made this, but maybe the discussion is if we need to have some kind of process to ensure that we are still meeting this criteria over the time.
Which
right?
one?
There must be no unpatched vulnerabilities of medium or higher severity that have been publicly known for more than 60 days.
Oh, but that's math.
That's meant for sure, because I think the thing is regarding our software. I mean, like Node.js itself, like, and not, like a dependency that we have. So I think in that sense is
Even a dependency that we have, I mean, it's just a few hair case that we don't perform a secret release. For instance, let's say that OpenCell says that they are releasing a critical secret release. We normally target the Node.js secret release a week after it, or maximum, So
I guess when we document how we meet that, I think pointing to the Node.js dependency vulnerability assessment that says,
yes,
we track vulnerabilities in our dependencies there. And we can look there now and say the oldest ones are the OpenSSL ones, which were low. That's why there weren't patches, right? And the other ones we plan, are only 5 days. So I think that's where we point to and say, like, here's the public vulnerabilities that we know about. I think it will I'm not sure if we got it reporting on ourselves, like on Node, but that would be, if we cover Node in addition to the dependencies, and that's our sense of our source of truth, it says, yeah, none of these are older than 60 days or higher, or, if they are older, they're below the threshold, right?
Yep.
Containing all the public CVEs that were not addressed in the Node.js scope, and we don't have, and all of them are assessed regularly.
Yeah, I think pointing to that repo, because like we're doing a decent job of tracking them now, and that's
just made a comment.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So
refresh
that
the page so you see.
So we should jump into, well, not now, but I mean like offline, worth start looking on the 955. So we can see how far we are on the silver level, because we already had the entry level. So I strongly assume that with the changes that we have, it's going to still be available. So that was the requirement for entry. I mean, that was the requirement to start with the silver. So feel free to check it out. There are already some responses here and there, but not full. Some of them I made a suggestion. So if anyone just want to double check what I believe was meet or unmeet, just resolve my conversations as well, so another person check it out and so on. And if you see any topic that was not covered, just try to cover them. And so that way we can leave it for the next discussion. Side question for my side: should we start thinking on try to achieve this entry level for other projects, such as Undici, for example?
I feel that it would be, I mean, if you want to do that, obviously go ahead, but I would be more comfortable reviewing Node.js entirely. We finish all the levels of Node.js, and then we have like more experience in all the questions, and then we can move on.
Yeah, I love that approach as well.
I feel that this is a lot of work, and you know, in some cases, due to the nature of the project, it might not meet all the requirements. You know.
Yeah, fully agree. Okay, so let's finish the full process and see what happened, and we can maybe proceed after that to other dependencies. Also for Ada, I was talking with the team of Ada as well if they want to do it, and they were interested also. So when we finish, we can push for them also.
So I will commit to the suggestion I made to the entry level, and Michael, if you can approve, that would be great. Just to have other approval.
Let me find the.
I will send you the chat.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I got to take this call. Where's my mute? All right. Yeah. In the chat. Okay. Thanks.
So entry level is concluded.
Yeah.
Working on silver. Silver level.
Should we merge the entry level already, or should we wait until I can update the website? The official tool.
I think we can, because since it was submitted, we can I will squash and merge it now.
Okay.
And then there's an action to update the README, but you have 48 hours, and if you can't do it, just ping us, or we can do it. Because you'll be traveling, right? Do you want to
I will be traveling, but I can do because actually I cannot submit all of this to the official website, because only Rod has access. So I need to ping him and get access for. But we already have the badge, so I will do a pull request potentially on Monday, because the 24 hours already passed a few years ago. So I can just separate pull request for that, and that's it. So don't worry.
Okay. So, we have the silver and gold level, but since we have a full agenda, let's go to the silver in the next one. So we have an issue opened by Michael about the project related news. I think we discussed it, but we didn't take any action, right? Like to create a report or something to share it on the next 10, right?
But is this about like our meeting, so we can take the Google Doc or the
minutes?
The minutes, and like turn it into something more
actionable. I mean, it's more to share what we did on every month, and well. I do a monthly report to the Alpha Omega project on the OpenJS Foundation, and we can take that in consideration and share it.
Right, like this is intended to be like we've got this cross-project effort to say like let's make the news available. So like, for example, if we wanted to say like, if we thought it was interesting to the broader community, say like, hey, Node has just recertified its best practices badge, right? That could be something that maybe, the different news we would want in like Node Weekly or something. I don't know, just trying to make up examples. The goal is to at least give people a way to discover those things and to make it really easy for teams. So like, for example, for this team, it would just be post a one-liner in that says, hey, this is the piece of news. And it's a bit of an experiment to see if then like people pick that news up, they share it.
Yeah, I feel that for us, would be great to not have it on every meeting, but instead or every 2 months or every month, because our actions normally takes quite a lot of time. Like it's we won't be able to share today that we got the entry level because we're still waiting for another
Sure.
action. You know?
It's not meant that it would be in the meet, like this issue doesn't have to be on the agenda. It's just what we would need is an issue where we can post that whenever it makes sense, because we add that we add a link to that issue to the, like we have one issue which says under the collaborators section that says, hey, here's all the places people post news that you might be interested in. And then the next 10 team is trying to get people interested in looking at those. There's even a discussion, like one of the people we talked to said, we usually get it through RSS feeds. And so actually it might be interesting if we could convert, I'm thinking like through GitHub Actions API, we could probably scrape those issues. And like every time there's a new post, there's an event. If we converted that into like a CSS stream, even though it's really easy for us, we just make a comment on an issue, that might end up with a event stream that like a CSS stream people could listen for and like, oh, here's the news from all across the project. So may take us time to get there, but the idea is, the reason I opened it here was just to say, hey, does the security working group have news it might want to share in this way? If so, we should create this issue, PR it into the main list and start using it. Or we could say, well, our news really doesn't fit into that, you know, but I wanted to make sure we asked the team to see if it was something this team wanted to try and share some news through that mechanism. There's a little bit more of an explanation in terms of the approach in the link that I added.
Okay, so I have renamed the issue to just news, removed it from the agenda and pinned it in the issues. So whenever we have any update, we can post there. Can we lock the conversation to just Node.js security working group members, just to not, I don't know, create a discussion or something?
I don't know if you can do that. Can you do that?
I think it's possible.
I can lock the conversation. Just members with right access can still leave comments. So I think that's it, right?
That's it, yeah.
Okay. Lock the conversation.
So basically, we'll just
collaborators
use the answer is kind of like yes, and issue 1006. So I'll PR in this issue into the master list of places that news sources. Because it sounds like we've agreed that, yeah, we'll do that. Okay.
Okay. So it's an action was taken.
Also, Michael, if you want help to create the GitHub action for like kind of digest all of this, I have something close to that made for my work also, and it's public, so we can discuss a little bit if you want on that and reuse some code.
Yeah, I haven't figured out. I haven't figured out if I'll have time to do anything. So like if you have something or any interest in helping make that happen, that'd be great. So yeah, let's link up side. That was just like somebody said, hey, if you could make this an RSS feed, it'd be great. And I'm like, that sounds like a good idea. I'm not sure if I have time to do it, but if we can make it happen, it would be great. So I will follow up with you on that in terms of the RSS action. Okay. Great. And I will PR this in. And yeah, like, so for example, if we add the badge to the README, I think that would be a great thing to say, you know, hey, the project is, you know, definitely interested in, you can we can add a little bit more context in terms of like, the more we make it something that a news thing could just grab and paste, the better, right?
Yeah. Marco, if you want, considering that the automation was concluded like last session, I guess, or last week, you can do the first comment sharing that, okay, we now have all the Node.js update, Node.js dependency update automated, so it should be working.
Yeah, and I would just add like a little bit of context that like, in order to securely manage our dependencies,
summary,
we've worked on automating the update of all our dependencies, and we finished that for master or main, for main, right? Like that would be a nice news bite. That
Yeah, I will add a comment under the issue. So
okay, that's good.
Okay, amazing, guys. Very good. Next one is the permission environment variables. We have just 5 minutes, but I will remove it from the agenda because I don't think we have anything else to discuss unless Michael has some thoughts on this. But for now, I have talked with many people internally or on my company, and we didn't find a good solution, or at least that worth the efforts to make the environment variables on Node.js, considering you can achieve the same by running a module. So, well, that's it. The conclusion is like it's not worth it to restrict environmental variables on Node.js.
yeah, I guess this is something that can be left for later when the permission model gets more mature and adopted.
Yeah, I mean, I will not close the issue. I will just remove from the agenda. Because,
Yeah, like it's based. Yeah, that seems totally fair. Like, hey, we understand the ask, just not the top priority now, right? Like there's other work that is prioritized over it.
No. Okay. So regarding the permission model roadmap, I don't have. Actually, I'm working on the relative paths. By the way, I need to talk with you later, Marco.
Yeah.
Basically, the Node.js does not. I was looking. I talked with Anna as well, and I thought we had the path resolve on the C++ side in some moment, but we don't, and we can't perform any sync IO call during the path resolution or resolve any sync links. So we need to do we need to create pretty similar path resolve on the C++ side. So I'm working on that. And well, initially it was working with the weekly canonical from std file system. However, I did a test on my Linux machine and it was working fine. But when I tested on macOS, I realized that the TMP folder /TMP is actually a single link to /private/TMP. So I realized that the weekly canonical was performing a file system operation, resolving the file single link. So that's bad. And apparently C++ is not mature enough to have an option to say do not resolve it. But that's it. So Rafael is working to accept relative paths in the CLI. Overlap with the single executable efforts. I have asked Bradley to get more context on that. They had a discussion on the single executable team, and if someone wants to take a lead on that action, that would be great. But I don't think we have anything else to discuss. Basically, they need to include some flags on the single executable application. For instance, I want to enable permission model by default when I use the single executive the binary. So they need to compile Node.js with the flag as required instead of optional. So this is just a change. So I'm removing from the agenda. If someone wants to take action on that, feel free. Removed from the agenda, and we have an update charter of README. One thing, Michael. Yes, Michael. This issue, this pull request 874, basically Darcy created in February to rename the ecosystem to security working group. But we have decided a few months ago that it's not security working group, it's a security team, right? Because working group normally has responsibilities.
Right. Like, I think I'd have to go back, but it was like the agreement was to just decharter and become the team, right?
Yes.
That's what I remember. So that was like here, decharter the ecosystem. So I think that if that's still open now, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. So we probably, if we're all comfortable with that, we should get that landed.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm not sure if I will use the terminology correctly, because I'm spreading a security working group to all my slides, to all the tweets I do, and we need to basically use security team instead, right?
Yeah, we would going forward say team instead of working group, right? And
what's the difference? Sorry, I don't have much context on this one. I mean, why we are shifting from working group to team?
It's because working group on Node.js refers to a team with responsibilities. So it's not a team of volunteers, technically, like you have a responsibility to take this action and complete it. But our team is basically volunteer. If you have time, you can do it. If you don't need to do it. Someone else do it, you know? I think it's more on that part, right, Michael? Just political reasons.
I mean, yeah, working groups, you get delegated specific responsibility in theory to make decisions on their own, like without having to defer to the TSC. It's like, hey, we've given responsibility for X from the TSC to this other group. But I think the feeling is here, it's like there's nothing we need responsibility delegated to. We're just a team working in a particular area where we have an interest. The TSC is still responsible ultimately, right? And that's the difference. It makes it easier in terms of like there's less overhead for governance, right? Because we're not taking ownership of any specific things necessarily. It doesn't mean that like you have to be really careful about who gets in the groups or not. And
yeah,
so teams are easier to manage.
Yeah, and if we keep as a working group, for instance, I assume that everybody would need to have access to the HackerOne, assess HackerOne reports, or everything related to security on Node.js, I suppose.
Well,
right?
yeah, if we want it, like, I don't think we've discussed that, but like, if you wanted to say we want to delegate to the security, like the charter outlines what's delegated or not, right? And so if we looked at what was in the charter, part of this was because like, we don't necessarily have ownership for like the vulnerability, there's ensure vulnerability data is updated efficiently in a timely manner. Maintain and make data available and disclose security vulnerabilities in the project, other projects, like those aren't things that have been delegated to the security working group at this point, right?
Okay. Yeah,
They may be
just feel
goals.
that
They may be goals of the team.
Yeah, I just feel that the terminology is quite confusing for people that looks from outside. Like looks like they are more than welcome to go to a working group meeting instead of a team meeting, But that's another discussion. That's it, guys. I think we reached our time. Thank you for joining. I will update the repository of the minutes. Thank you for joining.